Hey guys, it's Deanna with Deanna G Photography. Happy Wednesday. I am jumping on here today to talk about something that I find completely fascinating, and that is about body language. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm a portrait and lifestyle photographer here in Orange County, California, and I love helping my clients look and feel their best behind the lens and in front of the lens so that they can cherish those images and be proud to share them for a lifetime. So this is a topic that has completely grabbed my attention. I just started looking into a couple of YouTube channels, and I'm finding it fascinating because it's interesting that our nonverbal body language has more weight into what we're actually communicating than our verbal words. So, it's been known too that pictures can tell a story with 1,000 words. Well, so can your body language, okay? And did you know that nonverbal communication actually accounts for 60% of our communication, and verbal is only 40%. So I find that fascinating. That means that more than half our body language actually speaks more powerfully than our words. So this is, what people say too doesn't always accurately reflect what they're thinking or feeling, right? So we could be saying one thing, but showing with our body that we're completely thinking or feeling another way. Okay, so the way that you dress, move, and pose, sometimes even in pictures, can speak volumes, and the body language doesn't lie. So this is really important when it comes to photography and how you're posing in your photos, like your headshots, for your social media and whatnot, because it's actually speaking to the audience in a very strong way. Okay, so first impressions are extremely hard to change, right? So we want to really make sure that we're making the best one. And sometimes your first opportunity to engage or attract somebody is through your profile pic on Instagram or on Facebook or whatnot. And people are going to judge you in the first couple of seconds of seeing your picture without you even saying anything. It's fascinating to me that we do this, but this actually kind of goes back to our predator days or our days way back when we were cavemen or whatnot. But we either look at people as either a friend, a predator, or a possible sexual companion within the first 3 seconds of seeing somebody. Isn't that amazing? I was reading this information. It's actually a survival mechanism. So in the first 3 seconds, we're either of seeing somebody walk down the street or somebody in a picture, our brain is already going to determine whether we find them as a friend, a predator, or a possible sexual companion. So, and it's our body language that is giving off these cues. Okay, so for a friend, if you're really open and maybe you're like this, you come across more as a friend. If you're kind of like this, you could be now a potential predator. Or if you're kind of like that, in more of the flirting way, you could be a possible sexual companion. So it's really important the way that we're posing in our photographs, that we're doing it in a way that conveys what we actually want to put out there. So, okay, let's see. I think this is most important, I think, for people that are utilizing their headshots to sell themselves, like, maybe for realtors or bloggers, even photographers. And, anyone, I think, with a personal brand that's using social media, this is really important information for you guys, okay? So I'm going to jump in. Now, unsuccessful nonverbal communication, it can stop us from attracting the right clients, engaging people to learn what we have to offer. And it ultimately can stop us from making sales. If we have a picture or we're showing in our body language that we're closed off or whatnot, it may risk us from making a sale, okay? So in this live, I'm going to reveal some posing tips that you want to do when you're photographed, so that you can make sure that you're making the right and most effective impression. And, it's interesting because as I spoke in my last live video that I did last week, I had talked about posing tips for your hands. And, the face and the hands are actually the most important in expressing our emotions and our mental state. So this is where you're going to want to focus most. And it's interesting because actually after or learning this body language information, I went back to that live video that I did and watched, and some of the posing tips that I was giving in that live video is actually not working for our best impression. So I'm going to go over a few things that you're going to want to make sure that you're doing or not doing in your photographs specifically. Or maybe even in front of people if you're, at a board meeting or in a conference room or maybe during an interview. Okay, so this doesn't just apply to photography. Okay, so if you don't want to look closed off, you definitely want to avoid crossing your arms or your hands, and even your ankles or your legs, because this makes you look really closed off. If you're, kind of all crossed together, legs crossed, body crossed, you're not going to come across as open and welcoming, and people may get that, impression of you and avoid communicating with you. Okay? So, to not come across deceptive, this one came across really interesting to me. Don't put your hands in your pockets. So a lot of men, I even recommend this during photo shoots. They don't really know what to do with their hands. And I say, thumbs in pockets, hands in pockets if they fit. But this actually can come across making us look like we're liars or we're deceptive. So this is what you want to avoid. And then if you want to look powerful, always stand really tall and straight. You can put your hands on your hips. Make sure that your legs are uncrossed, and always give that direct eye contact. So this makes you look very powerful, confident, and assured of yourself. Okay, and people are attracted to that because they want to communicate and be around people that are confident and assured. If you're kind of unsure, and it makes us feel unsure, right? So we tend to mirror each other and not even know that we're doing that. So body language is really key in how we're carrying ourselves. Okay, so if you want to look more open and you want to attract and be more engaging, you want to make sure that you, guys, this one's for you more so, I think, unbutton the collar. You don't want to look too, buttoned up and stiff. So you want to make sure that you're unbuttoning the collar and making sure that you guys take off your jacket. So people that are in suits, they don't tend to always look as open. And I had done a headshot session for a couple of realtor gals, and we had taken some photographs with their jacket and without their jacket. And I actually liked the photos better without their business jacket on because it made them look a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more relatable. And I think that's really important when you're trying to engage and attract customers and clients. Okay, so to not look submissive, you want to always make sure that you're not touching your face, okay, or hunching over or crouching down, and making yourself basically looking smaller. Okay, that's going to make you look more submissive. And okay, so I would love to hear from you guys what posing tip actually surprised you the most. So if you want to drop that in the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. And so now, because there is a power in body language, I want to share with you 5 things that you can do to command a room with your nonverbal communication. So, number 1, you want to point your feet towards the person that you want the attention from, okay? So this is a nonverbal way of telling somebody that you're interested in them, you want to connect with them. Now, number 2, you want to always have angled sitting, sitting or standing. So you never want to, sit directly across from somebody, maybe at a boardroom table. You'll notice that the president does this. He often, sits next to somebody versus across from them. And this really kind of shows, there was studies shown that we're actually able to recall more of what the person is saying when we're not sitting directly across from them. Isn't that interesting? You learn something new every day. There was also, the studies show too, that it actually lowers the heart rate of both you and the person that you're communicating with. So when you're sitting directly across from somebody, again, it's that predator instinct, like, is this a predator? So your heart rate tends to elevate. But when you're standing next to somebody, you feel that's a sitting position more of like with a friend, right? So your heart rate tends to go down. I'm telling you guys, this stuff is fascinating to me. Okay, so let's move on. Steepling. That's my next one. So this is when your hands your fingers are pressed together and your hands are, over by your chest or up by your face. And sometimes, when you have your hands rested on a table and you're steepling like this makes you come across self-assured, confident, and it gives you a sense of superiority. So if you're wanting to look like the expert and come across as the expert in your field, sometimes, if you're, sitting down and you've got your elbows rested on the table, steepling is really powerful nonverbal body language. Now, this actually tends to be a little bit better for females than it does for males, because for females, it tends to allows them to come across as if they look more assertive versus aggressive, whereas with males, it can tend to make them look a little bit more aggressive. If you have a man and he's doing this, it's like, whoa, right? But with a woman doing this, it makes her look a little bit more self-assured and confident. My next one is, let's see here. When sitting down in an arm, if you do have arm rests, you want to make sure that you're making use of those arm rests. You never want to sit with your hands down by your side, because it can tend to make you look weak and submissive. So if you do have arm rests, I don't have any arm rests on my chair that I'm sitting in now. So maybe I rest on the table and I steeple if I'm, wanting to look more powerful or superior. But if you do have armrests on your chair, it's really good to kind of rest your arms there. So it does kind of give you a more confident and more assured look. All right, now my last one, this probably is one you're not surprised by. It's direct eye contact, okay? So you never want to communicate. Your verbal communication, as I have mentioned and proven here, tells a lot about you. So if you're talking to somebody and you're acting really engaged, but you're looking off to the side and looking down, and if I was to do this video and I'm looking away and anything but directly at you, you guys are probably going to lose interest. Like, oh, she's not really interested in speaking to us. So that's really important to always hold and maintain direct eye contact. So I could go on and on about this, you guys, for a long time. I am fascinated with Vanessa Van Edwards. And if you're interested at all in learning more about this stuff, body language and your nonverbal communication, you can check her out on YouTube. She has some fascinating videos, even on, what attracts men and what attracts women and nonverbal things that we do to do so, as well as how to tell if your kids are lying to you or not. Now, I think I would love to do a live video on that. But Vanessa Van Edwards, for those of you who don't know her, she is a published author and a behavioral investigator. So fascinating stuff, guys. But anyway, thanks for tuning in here. And whether I see you here again on Facebook Live or behind my lens, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.